Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, starless night, the horizon blurred into a seamless tapestry of darkness and faint light. You peer into the void, searching for a reflection, a silhouette, a flicker of recognition, but there is nothing. This is the paradox of the ego. The self you cling to, the I that feels so undeniably you, is a mirage. It is a story whispered by the mind, a constellation of thoughts, memories, and desires stitched together so convincingly that you've mistaken the map for the territory. But what if the you believe yourself to be, the thinker, the doer, the hero of your own narrative, is not a sovereign entity but a mosaic of borrowed fragments? The ego is a master of disguise. From the moment you awaken each day, it asserts itself. I am tired. I am hungry. I am right. I am wrong. It narrates your life with the urgency of a playwright scripting a tragedy, comedy, or epic, depending on the hour. Yet this voice is not you. It is a chorus of echoes, conditioning absorbed from culture, family, and the labyrinth of systems that shape your world. Think of the child who learns to label herself shy after a teacher's careless remark, or the adolescent who adopts a persona to fit into a tribe. These identities calcify over time, becoming armor that feels inseparable from the skin. But armor, by definition, is separate from the body. It is a construct, not the essence. The knowledge base speaks of energy extraction, the way societal systems siphon your vitality through fear, consumerism, and distraction. But what fuels these systems? The ego. It is the engine of attachment, the part of you that clings to labels, cravings, and divisions. When you scroll endlessly through social media, chasing validation and likes, it is the ego that hungers. When you argue vehemently for a political ideology, it is the ego that seeks to conquer. Even your most noble aspirations, your desire for success, love, or purpose, are often co-opted by the ego, transformed into metrics of worth. The system thrives because the ego thrives on lack. It whispers, you are not enough. Acquire more, become more. And so you bleed energy, mistaking the pursuit of more for the journey toward wholeness. Yet the ego is not your enemy. It is a survival mechanism, a tool that evolved to navigate the material world. The problem arises when you conflate the tool with the wielder. Picture a lantern in a dark forest. The light allows you to see, but it is not the forest itself. Similarly, the ego illuminates your experiences but becomes a prison when you forget it is merely a lens. The lie is not that the ego exists, it is that the ego is you. This misunderstanding traps you in a cycle of seeking approval, fearing rejection, and grasping for control. You become a character in a story you did not write, enslaved by a narrative of separation. To question the ego is to stand at the edge of a precipice. It requires confronting the discomfort of groundlessness, the terror of unbecoming. But within that void lies liberation. Consider the ancient metaphor of the river. You are not the water, nor the fish swimming in it, but the current itself, the ceaseless flow of existence. The ego is the fish, darting after pebbles and distractions, while the river remains unaware of its own power. Awakening begins when you shift your identification from the fish to the current, from the story to the silence beneath it. This is not a call to destroy the ego, but to dissolve its tyranny. It is an invitation to see through the illusion of separation and recognize the boundless consciousness that precedes thought, identity, and form. The journey ahead will unravel the threads of this deception, exploring how fear, societal programming, and the myth of individualism chain you to a false self. But remember, the prison door has never been locked. It is your belief in its permanence that keeps you confined. The ego does not operate in isolation. It is both puppet and puppeteer, a fractal of larger systems that have woven themselves into the fabric of human consciousness. To understand its grip, we must trace the threads of its creation to the invisible architects of belief, the societal machines that mold your sense of self from the moment you draw your first breath. Picture a newborn, eyes wide and unfiltered, absorbing the world as a raw symphony of light, sound, and sensation. There is no I hear, only pure experience, but almost immediately the programming begins. A parent might say, "You're a good girl," or "Boys don't cry." A teacher declares, "This is how the world works." Advertisements, religious doctrines, political slogans, Each deposits layer upon layer of conditioning into the fertile soil of the mind. The ego is the sum of these deposits, a Frankenstein's monster assembled from the myths of the tribe. Consider the modern marketplace of identity. You are sold personas like products: the minimalist, the CEO, the activist, the spiritual seeker. Each comes with a rule book, a wardrobe, and a set of approved emotions. Social media amplifies this performance, turning life into a curated highlight reel where likes serve as validation. The ego, ever hungry for approval, becomes a slave to the algorithm. You post, you wait, you measure your worth in notifications. A digital Skinner box that keeps you chasing the next dopamine hit. But these systems are not random. They are designed to extract energy, to keep you trapped in cycles of lack and desire. Capitalism thrives when the ego feels insufficient. Consumerism is its sacrament. You buy the luxury car, the skincare routine, the self-help seminar, believing each purchase will complete you. Yet the finish line keeps moving, because the system profits from your perpetual dissatisfaction. Even spirituality is commodified. Buy this crystal, attend this retreat, and you'll find enlightenment. The ego, ever the eager consumer, laps it up, unaware it is being sold a placebo. Religion and dogma, too, play their role. They offer salvation but demand submission to a prescribed narrative. Believe this and you'll be saved. Doubt and you'll be damned. The ego clings to these promises, terrified of the void beyond the doctrine. It becomes a loyal soldier in the army of orthodoxy, policing thoughts that stray from the script. Even rebellion is co-opted. The nonconformist label is just another mask, another layer of identity to defend. The most insidious aspect of these systems is their invisibility. Like fish unaware of water, you swim in a sea of narratives, blind to their influence. The ego internalizes these stories, weaving them into a seamless tapestry of self. You believe you are choosing your path, but the choices are hemmed in by invisible fences. The system thrives because it convinces you that your cage is freedom. Yet cracks appear, moments of existential vertigo. Who am I really? Hint at the artifice, a sudden glimpse of the sky through prison bars. These are the ego's moments of vulnerability, the fissures where truth leaks in. To awaken is not to reject the ego, but to see it as a character in a larger play. You are the playwright, the audience, and the stage itself. The systems that shaped you are not your enemies. They are mirrors reflecting your collective shadow. To dismantle the ego's tyranny, you must first understand its origins. Only then can you reclaim the power you unknowingly surrendered. Imagine walking into a labyrinth made of mirrors. Each reflection shows a version of you, your desires, fears, and insecurities, magnified and distorted. You reach out to touch one, and the glass shatters, only to reform into a new image equally compelling. This is the digital age, a maze of screens, algorithms, and endless content, all designed not to serve you but to harvest your energy. The ego, that loyal servant of illusion, becomes both prisoner and accomplice in this dance. Social media platforms, streaming services, and even the music you consume are not neutral tools. They are precision-engineered systems that prey on the ego's vulnerabilities. Consider the algorithm, a digital puppeteer that thrives on outrage, envy, and longing. It curates content to keep you scrolling, clicking, and reacting, not because it cares about your joy, but because your emotional turbulence is its fuel. Every heated debate in the comments, every pang of inadequacy while scrolling through an influencer's perfect life, every rabbit hole of conspiracy theories or despair-inducing headlines drains your vitality. You leave these platforms feeling hollow, yet you return, compelled by the ego's addiction to validation. The knowledge base speaks of media as a tool of energy extraction, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the design of modern technology. Notifications are dopamine traps, engineered to mimic the urgency of a predator's call. The endless scroll mimics a casino slot machine, offering unpredictable rewards to keep you hooked. Even streaming platforms with their autoplay features are designed to dissolve your autonomy. You sit down to watch one episode and emerge hours later, dazed and depleted, wondering where your time and energy went. This is no accident. It is a calculated siege on your focus, turning your attention into a commodity sold to the highest bidder. Music, once a sacred bridge between the human soul and the cosmos, has been co-opted into this machinery. The ancients understood sound as a vibrational key to higher consciousness, chants, mantras, and drum beats that harmonized with the universe's frequencies. Today, much of popular music is engineered to trap you in low-energy states. Bass drops mimic heartbeats of anxiety. Lyrics glorify materialism, heartbreak, or escapism. These sounds don't elevate, they numb. They keep the ego fixated on lack, reinforcing the narrative that you are incomplete without the next purchase, relationship, or hit of synthetic euphoria. The urban environment amplifies this dissonance. Cities are arenas of overstimulation, neon lights, blaring sirens, and the relentless hum of machinery. They are designed to keep your nervous system in a state of hypervigilance, your energy fragmented. The ego, ever the adapter, learns to thrive in this chaos, mistaking urgency for purpose. You rush from task to task, chasing deadlines and deliverables, believing productivity is the antidote to existential dread. But productivity, too, is a trap. The system doesn't want you to rest. It wants you dependent, your energy siphoned into a cycle of burnout and consumption. Breaking free begins with recognizing these tools for what they are, extensions of the same systems that shaped your ego. The first step is to reclaim your attention. Turn off notifications. Create sacred spaces free of screens. Question the narratives fed to you by ads, news, and even harmless entertainment. Ask, does this align with my truth, or is it programming me to serve another's agenda? Next, rediscover silence. The digital labyrinth fears stillness, for in silence, you hear the voice beneath the ego's chatter, the boundless consciousness that observes without judgment. Replace reactive scrolling with mindful creation. Journal, meditate, or walk in nature. These acts are acts of rebellion, reconnecting you to the energy the system has tried to steal. The ego will resist. It fears irrelevance. But remember, you are not the puppet. You are the hand that holds the strings. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you weaken the system's grip. You begin to see technology not as a master, but as a tool, one that can illuminate truth as easily as it propagates lies. Imagine a vast, invisible machine humming beneath the surface of your daily life. Its gears are forged from your anxieties, its fuel derived from your cravings, and its exhaust, a thick fog of exhaustion, settles into your bones. This machine is not mechanical but systemic, a network of interlocking forces designed to extract your life force. The ego, ever the loyal servant, acts as both its operator and its product. To understand how deeply this system penetrates, we must examine the three pillars of its power: fear, consumerism, and urbanization. Fear is the machine's primary engine. From the moment you wake, you are bombarded with threats, real, exaggerated, or entirely fabricated. News alerts blare warnings of economic collapse, climate disasters, and social unrest. Advertisements prey on insecurities. Your breath isn't fresh enough. Your body isn't young enough. Your life isn't meaningful enough. Even the weather app stokes dread with ominous storm clouds swirling on your screen. The ego, wired for survival, latches onto these narratives, mistaking them for truth. Cortisol floods your system, keeping you in a perpetual state of fight or flight. But here's the catch. Fear doesn't just paralyze, it distracts. While you're busy bracing for imaginary catastrophes, you're too drained to question why you feel so powerless. Consumerism is the machine's currency. It thrives on the ego's insatiable hunger for validation. You are taught that fulfillment lies in the next purchase: a luxury car to signal success, a skincare regimen to erase time, a mindfulness app to soothe your frayed nerves. Each transaction is framed as a solution, yet none deliver lasting peace. Why? Because the system doesn't want you satisfied. Satisfaction would mean disengagement, and disengagement threatens the machine's survival. Instead, you're trapped in a Sisyphean cycle: acquire, discard, repeat. The ego, ever chasing the next fix, becomes a conduit for energy extraction. Your hard-earned money is merely a symbol of the deeper cost: your time, creativity, and vitality funneled into a void. Urbanization is the machine's architecture. Cities, with their towering skyscrapers and relentless noise, are factories of disconnection. You're packed into steel boxes, shuttled between fluorescent-lit offices and cramped apartments. Nature is reduced to potted plants in corporate lobbies or fenced-off parks you visit on weekends. The sensory overload, honking cars, flickering screens, the buzz of crowded sidewalks, keeps your nervous system on high alert. The ego, deprived of stillness, clings to artificial rhythms. It mistakes urgency for purpose, productivity for meaning. But the urban labyrinth is no accident. It was designed to sever your roots from the natural world, the one force that might remind you of your true essence. Not a cog in a machine, but a thread in the cosmic web. The genius of this system lies in its invisibility. You don't see the energy being siphoned, you only feel the emptiness. The 40-hour workweek isn't just a schedule, it's a ritual of sacrifice. Retirement accounts promise freedom in some distant future, yet the debt cycle ensures you'll never stop working. Even your leisure time is commodified. Streaming services, gyms, and cafes all demand payment for moments of fleeting relief. The ego, desperate to justify its existence, buys into the lie. If I just work harder, buy more, conform better, I'll finally feel whole. But wholeness cannot be purchased. It is uncovered by dismantling the machine piece by piece. To reclaim your energy, you must first recognize how the system weaponizes your biology. Chronic stress, sleep deprivation, and sensory overload are not accidental byproducts. They are features. They keep you fragmented, reactive, and dependent. The ego, in its hunger for control, becomes an unwitting ally to your oppression. Yet, as the knowledge base reveals, this is not a flaw in your design but a distortion of it. Humans are meant to thrive in harmony with nature's rhythms, not as exiles in concrete jungles. Your energy is not a finite resource to be exploited. It is a wellspring of creativity, waiting to be redirected. Breaking free begins with small acts of defiance. Turn off the news, walk barefoot on grass, question the next purchase you're told will complete you. These are not mere self-care tips, they are rebellions. Each time you refuse to feed the machine, you starve the ego's grip and awaken to the truth. Your energy is yours to command. The system fears this awakening, for it knows that a single conscious individual can ignite a wildfire. To break free from the machine, you must become an alchemist. Not in the literal sense of turning lead into gold, but in the art of transmuting exhaustion into vitality, fear into clarity, and fragmentation into wholeness. This is not a passive journey. It is an act of rebellion, a conscious decision to redirect your energy from the system's greedy maw back into your own sovereign being. The tools for this transformation lie not in some distant guru's wisdom, but in the raw, unfiltered essence of what it means to be human. Creativity, connection, and the courage to question. The first step is to reclaim your focus. The system thrives on distraction, but attention is a muscle, it can be strengthened. Begin by observing the patterns that drain you. When you feel the pull to scroll, react, or numb yourself, pause. Ask, is this action mine or is it a script I've been handed? This simple act of awareness creates a crack in the illusion. Next, impose boundaries. Turn off notifications, designate screen-free hours, and curate your digital landscape as fiercely as you guard your physical space. But do not stop there. Replace passive consumption with active creation. Write, paint, cook, dance. Engage in acts that demand your full presence. Creativity is the antithesis of the system's design. It refuses to be commodified, for it flows from the uncolonized depths of your being. Nature is your greatest ally in this rebellion. The system has severed your connection to the earth, but the remedy lies in remembering. Walk barefoot on soil. Sit beneath a tree and trace its branches with your eyes. Let rain fall on your face without rushing to shelter. These acts are not sentimental gestures, they are acts of recalibration. The natural world operates on rhythms of balance, cycles of death and rebirth that mirror your own. When you immerse yourself in nature, you tap into a frequency that bypasses the ego's chatter. You remember that you are not a separate entity struggling to survive, but a thread in a living tapestry. The energy you reclaim here is primal, unfiltered, and immune to the system's distortions. Simplification is another pillar of defiance. The system wants you buried under layers of clutter, physical, mental, emotional. It thrives on your overwhelm. Counter this by stripping away the non-essential. Declutter your home, not as a chore, but as a ritual of liberation. Each unnecessary possession you discard is a stake driven into the heart of consumerism. Pare down your commitments. Say no to obligations that do not align with your truth. In the space you create, you'll find something profound: stillness. This is where the ego's voice grows faint and the deeper consciousness beneath begins to stir. But awakening cannot happen in isolation. The system fears collective power, which is why it sows division. Counter this by seeking authentic connection. Gather with those who question, who create, who refuse to play the game. Share stories, resources, and silence. These bonds are not transactional, they are lifelines. Together, you amplify each other's energy, forming a countercurrent to the machine's flow. Remember, the system's strength lies in your isolation. When you unite, you become a force it cannot easily dismantle. The final act of alchemy is to redefine success. The system measures worth in productivity, wealth, and status. Reject this. Define success as moments of presence, acts of kindness, and the courage to live authentically. Celebrate small rebellions, a day without screens, a meal cooked with intention, a conversation that lingers past sunset. These are not trivialities, they are declarations of independence. As you practice these steps, something shifts. The exhaustion lessens, the fog lifts. You begin to see the system not as an invincible monolith, but as a fragile construct, dependent on your compliance. Every choice to reclaim your energy weakens its grip. You are no longer a puppet, you are the puppeteer, learning to pull the strings of your own liberation. You stand at the edge of a new horizon, the weight of the journey etched into your being. The illusions have crumbled, the ego's mask lies shattered, the labyrinth's walls dissolve into dust, and the machine's hum fades into silence. What remains is not an endpoint but an awakening, the realization that you are not a character in a story, but the storyteller, the listener, and the story itself. This is the paradox of sovereignty. You are both the wave and the ocean, the dancer and the dance. The journey through the ego's lies has revealed a profound truth. Your essence cannot be contained by labels, systems, or even the boundaries of skin. It is the spark that ignites galaxies, the silence between heartbeats, the unnameable force that breathes life into form. The ego, once a tyrant, now serves as a humble guide, a tool to navigate the material world without mistaking the map for the territory. You no longer seek freedom from the ego. You transcend it, as sunlight transcends the prism that fractures it into colors. Yet awakening is not a destination. It is a daily practice of remembering. The system will still whisper, "You are small, you are separate, you must strive." The algorithms will beckon, the news will alarm, and the urban sprawl will buzz with urgency. But now you see these for what they are, echoes of a dying paradigm. You meet them not with fear or defiance, but with the quiet certainty of one who has touched the infinite. You unplug the devices, walk away from the noise, and root yourself in the rhythms of nature. The rising sun, the waxing moon, the season's slow turn. These are the true metrics of time, not the artificial ticks of a clock. The alchemy of awakening is incomplete without community. Just as a single candle can illuminate a dark room, collective light dispels the shadows of systemic control. Share your journey, not as a guru, but as a fellow traveler. Teach by example, grow food, create art, build networks of mutual aid. When you reclaim your energy, you amplify others' ability to do the same. The system fears this solidarity, for it knows that awakened individuals become bridges, not followers. In this new dawn, creativity becomes your compass. You write, build, and innovate not to compete, but to contribute. You consume not to fill a void, but to honor the abundance of existence. Even small acts, a handwritten letter, a shared meal, a moment of presence, become revolutions. They remind the world that humanity is not a collection of consumers, but a tapestry of creators. There will be days when the old fears resurface, when the quicksand of doubt pulls you under. In those moments, return to the body. Breathe deeply. Feel the pulse in your wrists, the weight of your bones, the air filling your lungs. This is the ultimate rebellion, to inhabit your humanness fully, to honor the vessel that allows consciousness to experience itself. The ego's voice may chatter, but beneath it lies a deeper truth. I am, and I am enough. The knowledge base speaks of breaking free, but liberation is only the beginning. True sovereignty is the courage to live as the unbounded consciousness you've always been. It is the willingness to shed skins, to die to old selves, and to rise anew with each sunrise. You are not here to find yourself. You are here to lose yourself again and again in the mystery of existence. As this exploration closes, remember, the world you once knew was a dream. The real world, the one that pulses with starlight, that hums with the energy of a billion souls, is now yours to inhabit. Carry it gently. Defend it fiercely. And when you stumble, as you will, let the words of the ancient mystics guide you. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things are broken and all things are whole. You are the healer and the healed, the seeker and the found, the question and the answer. The dawn is here. Step into the light.